April 13th, 2020, from Phil's house in sunny Austin, Texas. This is Just to Save the World News with your host, Phil the Fixer.
Good evening. I'm Ron Burgundy, and this is what's happening in your world tonight.
What's going on, everybody? Trevor Noah here. Welcome to another episode of the Daily Social Distancing Show.
Good evening, and welcome to the first ever episode of Just to Save the World News. There's plenty of news stories on the environment to discuss this week. However, all of them will surely be completely ignored due to the novel coronavirus. So let's not waste any time in beginning our futile effort of reporting on them. Our top story tonight, the EPA has once again let us and the planet down. This time by deciding to not enforce anything during the duration of the novel coronavirus. That's right, they're suspending environmental laws and restrictions on corporations, giving them carte blanche access to destroy the planet as they please. This is the equivalent of your mother not telling you to clean your room, and instead giving you free access to make everyone's room into the pigsty yours is, including the Wilsons next door, who are very nice people. Remember, they even brought you brownies when you moved in, and nobody does that anymore. Speaking of ruining the planet, plastic. You're fine? Who wrote this? I can't do this alone. We're going to call our senior correspondent, Deandra Marissette. Yo, Deandra, I saw your IG post, plastic. I need you to give us an update on what the hell's going on with that.
Hey, wait, us?
Yeah, yeah. We're live right now on the show, the
Live?
news show. Yeah, you're the senior correspondent. I'm pretty sure we talked about this.
Phil, no, I'm not ready for this. What are you talking about?
No, it's cool. I sent you a link for beauty mode. Yeah, just check your inbox.
What the hell is beauty mode? What does this do?
Okay, that's better. Hey, Phil.
What's up?
Okay, so Big Plastic has been capitalizing on COVID-19 lately by reiterating the dangers around reusable bags. To me, this reads like a classic fear tactic that has actually been pausing a lot of plastic bag bans as of lately. But the tea here is that the same study used by the Plastics Industry Association says that plastic bags are safer on account of consumers almost never washing their reusable bags. If we really believed that people weren't capable of washing stuff, we'd all be switching to single-use plastic outfits. Scientists have already found that washing reusables cuts back on bacteria by 99.99% and effectively kills coronavirus. So basically, don't be disgusting and wash your reusable bags.
Well, speaking of disgusting, the Trump administration rolled back a major Obama-era climate policy, weakening auto emission standards in a move they claim will mean cheaper cars for consumers. But critics of the administration responded that the rule will lead to nearly 1 billion additional metric tons of CO2 in the atmosphere. And then in the long run, consumers will end up actually losing money, buying more gas for their less fuel-efficient vehicles. Not to mention increases in air pollution, which is known to make people more susceptible to catching respiratory illnesses. But it's fine, right? I mean, when's the last time you've heard of respiratory illnesses being a problem?
So, in completely unrelated news, we're all obviously being quarantined right now due to the global pandemic known as COVID-19.
A respiratory illness.
Which means no one's commuting right now. Our city streets are way less crowded on account of our vehicles being gone. The same vehicles that spew toxic gases into the air, saturating our skylines. Again, totally unrelated to the world's respiratory issues.
Yeah, totally unrelated.
Because of all that's happening, cities across the country are witnessing clearer skies.
This is China covered in pollution last year. But this year, the skies are clear. That's because the coronavirus epidemic had brought much of the country to a standstill for several weeks, causing a huge drop in pollutants like nitrogen dioxide, a harmful gas that's emitted when burning fossil fuel.
And before we get 1,000 eco-fascism callouts, we are not saying that the solution is forcing people to live like hermits. We are saying that the government and corporations need to take full responsibility for their emissions.
In some more positive news, the Standing Rock Sioux tribe of North Dakota had a significant victory in their fight against the Dakota Access Pipeline. In case you forgot all about the Dakota Access Pipeline, back in 2016, the Sioux tribe protested the pipeline being built across sacred land.
And it went like...
U.S. Army Corps of Engineers was ordered to conduct a full environmental impact statement after it was ruled that existing permits violated the National Environmental Policy Act. I really have no jokes here. This is actually a huge step forward. Their effort sets a precedent for what a passionate grassroots protest can accomplish. But the fight still continues for them to get the pipeline completely shut down.
So recently, we celebrated World Water Day on social media, and it's an important reminder that 2.2 billion people don't have access to clean water, and 4 billion people are battling with water scarcity. Speaking of water,
I got the water!
Cruise companies are asking for coronavirus bailout money.
What?
Yeah, guys, none of us are happy about what's happening with coronavirus, but I really do hope that we use this opportunity to bring death to the cruise ship industry. Cruises are beloved by Americans that don't actually like to travel, but cruise ships aren't so American. And here's why. I have a list. Cruise companies register in other countries to avoid paying U.S. taxes, dodge U.S. labor laws, which puts employees in shitty work environments, allows them to pay their employees like shit. They skirt environmental regulations left and right. They run largely on fossil fuels, and they dumped waste straight into our oceans.
Where else were they going to put our shit?
In conclusion, no, cruise ships as of now are not getting bailout money.
Well, that's great, because cruise ships. On that note, let's just go to our guest segment for today, because I'm really tired of all this frustrating news.
What about my fashion update?
Oh, you got more. You have
Yes.
more, Deandra. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so everybody knows that what's happening with COVID is having a horrible, horrible impact on businesses, and the fashion industry is no exception. But some fashion insiders are feeling really torn right now because brands that have historically perpetuated the exploitation of garment workers are canceling huge orders. And for those of you who don't know, fast fashion systems groom people down the supply chain to be heavily reliant upon these really inadequate systems. So the industry as a whole employs over 40 million people globally, and now it's facing mass layoffs and pay cuts. This is particularly troubling because developing countries don't have the same safety nets or access to healthcare that we do. Some brands have graciously confirmed that they will be upholding their agreements to pay their factories despite these canceled orders. But before we pass out all of our cookies, we are waiting to see who actually follows through.
For you, and none for Gretchen Wieners. Bye.
Great stories, Deandra. Thanks for coming on and helping me out with those.
Yeah.
And we will see you on the next episode.
Right. Thanks, Phil.
And now for our guest segment today with Natalia.
Thanks, Phil. Natalia here, tuning in from my apartment complex. Today we're going to be talking about this Yopon holly tree. This tree is the only plant indigenous to North America that produces or contains caffeine. The caffeine is in the twigs and the leaves. This tree is a female because it's got these little berries on it. The berries should not be eaten. They were used by Native Americans in purging ceremonies. They would drink the tea and add the berries, and it would make them vomit profusely. You do not want to use the berries. Whenever you make the tea, you want to grab some of the leaves, maybe the younger leaves, and then you can grab some of the twigs as well, and you will bake them in the oven until they're nice and brown. The taste resembles, I would say yerba mate, a little bit of a mate taste. So yeah, it's a really good survival tool to know some of the edible plants around your neighborhood. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I can come back and give y'all some more survival skills. And back to you.
Thanks, Natalia.
Welcome to the show, Reza Christian. First ever interview on Just to Save the World News.
Thank you for having me.
So you run a magazine called Sustain the Mag, where you report on sustainability and climate change and what people can do to have a positive impact. Now that we are in the midst of a global pandemic, it seems like the media is pretty much only talking about that. What are your thoughts on reporting on climate change and sustainability in a time like this?
Yeah, I completely think that with the pandemic going on, it makes sense that people don't want to talk about something else that's larger, that's also kind of depressing in the same manner. But I think right now we can't ignore climate change more than ever, because this is going to show what is going to be happening in a larger scale. So with the pandemic going on, like, there is another crisis happening still. Once this is over, once COVID-19 is over, climate change is still happening. We still have very limited time. And I think we need to showcase that within the media. And with Sustain the Mag, we showcase that, how we had a wonderful writer. She wrote about how the COVID-19 demonstrates the future of how we can tackle climate change, and kind of like the benefits of what happens when people slow down. It does suck that it has to happen this way, but it just goes to show that, like, Western society hasn't really noticed or really realized how to live within the earth. We have to take kind of back and go back to what our, communities prior to us, like the indigenous communities that really kind of learned. They knew how to learn with the earth, unlike us, because of capitalism. So hopefully we can keep pushing that out. And I know there are articles that are coming out in media that's showcasing it, but not on a larger scale, like big networks like CNN and Fox News, for example.
Yeah, speaking of the things that they are reporting on, we saw a lot of fake positive news stories coming out as the quarantine started. For instance, the dolphins coming back to the canals in Venice. Mm-hmm. And it came out that those were not true. What's kind of like the motivation behind media jumping on a story like that without like real proof?
Yeah, I think the main motivation is clickbait. People want more viewers. People right now are, hungry for positive news. And when that came out on Twitter, everyone went berserk, and the news sites just like ate it up. And because it is coronavirus and the COVID-19, it's hard for journalists and reporters to actually, report and actually like go to the source. You would think people can do that easily just virtually over the phone, but when it comes to like, the canals, like, people were realizing that that wasn't true. Yes, the waters were clear, but the fish and the animals, and there was another story where elephants they supposedly got high off of some, I believe it's like some fruit or some, for example, and they were just like roaming around. So it just shows that people really just care about money. News networks really do focus more on that. The more viewers they have, the more advertisements that come in and the more money that goes in for those networks. So it just kind of shows that, again, it's just a capitalism world that we live in. And sometimes the media isn't the greatest. And that's why I think independent media, such as Sustain the Mag and a few other networks, are just where we need to give our support, because they are actually focusing on what actually matters versus the views.
Yeah, speaking on that, we are actually working on this show that we're on right now, that you're also a part of. And we're kind of trying to navigate this new way to report on it in a time like this. And these topics are so heavy. They're already hard to deal with in a normal world where everyone's got breaks and can go hang out with friends. And now that we're in this situation where a lot of us are alone, or we can't go off and do our stress release things like going to a concert or something. So like, I want to know what you're looking forward to with working on this show in order to do that in a more effective way.
Yeah, I am really excited to create and connect with other outside, forces that could help us contribute to growing and making, climate change visible to all audiences. I think we need to realize that it is such, like you said, such a dark topic, I feel like. And this show, I'm really excited because I feel like it's going to really be an eye opener to everyone, not just the people that are already in the industry. And it's just going to be kind of uplifting and the positive news they really need that is not fake, but actually true. So that's what I'm excited about for joining this show as well. And thank you to you for creating it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited as well. I'm excited to have yourself and Deandra working on this with me, and we'll see how it goes. Well, thanks for coming on, Reza. It was a pleasure to talk to you. You want to go ahead and plug your sites before we let you go?
Yeah, definitely. You can follow Sustain the Mag on Instagram @SustainTheMag, and online on our site is sustainthemag.com. So definitely shoot us an email or a DM if you ever need any questions about sustainability. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Reza. Well, all right. That's our show. Thanks for watching.
Okay, I need you to promise me that you'll be on your best behavior.
I promised other people that I'd be on my worst behavior, and I gave my word, so...